My name is Asa Cameron. I'm an archaeologist and a PhD student at Yale University. My research involves the study of the Xiongnu Empire, its development, particularly as it relates to state formation and the structure of the politics itself. So to get at this, I'm looking at diachronic changes in mobility and diet patterns of both human and animals over time, and how these relate to landscape use, access to water and pasture, and also resource rights as well. I have a BA from Vanderbilt in Anthropology. While there, I participated in the American Mongolian Health Archaeology Project in 2010, which was my first time doing archaeology, also my first time visiting Mongolia as well. And from that, I've sort of fell in love with both the country and archaeology as well. And sort of my academic trajectory has grown from there. So in 2016, I finished a master's in archaeology from Cornell. For my master's thesis, I worked on, again, looking at changes in herding patterns as particularly relates to diet of sheep, goat, cattle, and horse in northern and central Mongolia during the Xiongnu period, and whether or not we could use stable isotopes to identify foddering patterns in the past. And my current work is really building on my work at Cornell, and hopefully the data I gathered this summer, particularly the skeletal remains, I'll be able to analyze in a lab using stable isotopes again, looking at carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and strontium to get issues of mobility and diet in the past for humans and animals. So I have two collaborators. One is Dee Bokchulan, who is also a PhD student at Yale University, but previously had been associated with the History and Archaeology Institute at the Mongolian Academy of Sciences. And our other collaborator is currently at the Mongolian Academy of Sciences in the Institute of History and Archaeology, Dr. Dee Otsuran, who also teaches at the State University for Teaching. So his primary interest is with Neolithic and Paleolithic archaeology. Bokchulan mostly is looking at the early or late Bronze Age and early Iron Age, and with my focus being slightly later on the Xiongnu period. So we're able to work really well together and fill out a lot of the archaeology in the region we work in. So the area we work in is called Xiongnu. It's in Dornigov and in Altenshire Som. So previously, there hadn't been actually any excavations conducted in this small region. So before digging, aside from the presence of graves and the presence of some Neolithic campsites, we really had no way to know what we would find, what the type of preservation would be. So one of the biggest sort of challenges and obstacles this year was almost finding too much stuff. So particularly with the Xiongnu graves, we found that the preservation was amazing, and we were pulling out a lot of organic materials that we didn't necessarily expect to find. So for instance, on the third Xiongnu grave that I excavated, we pulled out a wooden coffin, leather, fabric, silk, and a lot of the faunal remains, which are particularly important to me, actually still had tissue and some of the hair attached to it. And these are animals that were buried more than 2,000 years ago. So we just were not expecting that at all. So it was a pleasant surprise, but it was also a lot of material is very fragile and can be very nerve-wracking to excavate and work with. But ultimately very rewarding and incredibly exciting. It was a great find. Just had to sort of think about how to deal with it on the fly. So. I would say it's been really great. I think the ACMS has been wonderful to work with. Easy, open, and it's wonderful that we have both this institution and funding opportunity to do this type of research. There aren't a whole lot of institutions that fund research in Mongolia explicitly, so it's great to have a partnership with ACMS and to really hopefully work with you guys in the future more and attend some of the speaker series when I'm in the capital.